You are watching Access LaPorte County, Channel 97. Coming up next is the July 27th, 2027 workshop of the ESG Performance Savings Guarantee Report. You can find more information for this report by visiting www.accesslaportecounty.org.
Good afternoon, everyone. This workshop is being called by Councilman Don Przybylski, myself, and joining us this afternoon is Mr. Brad Minnick from Hassan Associates, who works for the city, and also our council attorney is here, and Yvonne Hoffmaster, the city controller, is here. Along with joining us is Councilman Sean Fitzpatrick and Councilwoman Dahlia Zegas, along with representatives from ESG Corporation, and that stands for Energy Systems Group. And the reason I called the workshop, and Amber LePage is also here this afternoon, legal counsel for the city, is every year we've been in this contract, which has been 3. The results from the previous year have to be ratified by the city council, and I just wanted to make sure that any questions that needed to be answered by city council members or representatives from the administration, and any questions of ESG from our engineering consultant, that we can get that answered, and there's a clear understanding of exactly what this contract is and what it's doing for the city. So what I'd like to do is just begin on some groundwork here and I know that Councilman Sean Fitzpatrick was on the council when this contract was put into force, but Councilwoman Dahlia Zegas was not on the council, and this may be new to her and any other council members and anyone from the public that is watching in on this. So I'm going to begin, before we get into any Q&A, a background of what this program is. And the project background: the City of Michigan City and the Energy Systems Group, ESG, entered into this energy savings performance contract in November 2018 in order to create renewed infrastructure, conserve energy, reduce energy and operational expenses, and enhance livability and safety for those who work, play, and visit the city. In March 2019, the ESPC was amended, and all references to the guarantee within the Performance Guarantee Savings Report utilize the amended guarantee. And the guarantee term is a period of 18 years from April of 2020 through March of 2038. Now, just a project overview: ESG was selected by Michigan City in 2018 to develop an ESPC project for the facilities in the city. This means the buildings, areas that were improved as part of this agreement are as follows. Number 1, City Hall, the Barker Mansion, Central Services, Transit, and Vector Control Departments, Fire Department number 4, which is on Cleveland Ave, the Senior Center, Central Maintenance, the airport, the golf course, Krieger Memorial Hall, Park Maintenance Building, Patriot Park, Pullman Field and Park, Washington Park Zoo, the Police Department, street lighting that's metered, and street lighting that's non-metered. And the energy conservation measures implemented for this project included lighting upgrades, which included interior, exterior, and street lighting, HVAC mechanical upgrades, HVAC control upgrades, roof upgrades, solar, how do you say that word, Brad? Do you know?
Photovoltaic.
Yeah. Dealing with solar panels, safety and security upgrades, and fleet management system upgrades. Okay, now what we're dealing with at this point in time of the year is the annual report summary that comes to the city from ESG, and it has to be ratified, certified, approved by the city council, and then sent back to ESG that we accept that report for 2022. So the purpose of this report is to demonstrate the results achieved to date for the Guaranteed Energy Savings Performance Contract, both financial savings and operational performance over the term of the agreement are important aspects of the performance and performance contracting. This report document details savings calculations and demonstrates the level of verified savings as compared to the savings guaranteed by contract. ESG began the installation of energy savings upgrades in December of 2018 and completed construction in March 2020. The ECMs enabled the city of Michigan City to improve comfort, provide a safe environment, reduce the energy consumption, and decrease dollars spent on utility bills. The year 3 guarantee was $266,930. ESG calculated the verified energy cost savings and operational cost savings for the third year guaranteed, and that's what we're talking about now is the third year guaranteed, is $274,204. The verified savings are $7,274 more than the year 3 guaranteed savings. The figures below provides a detailed breakdown of the savings for year 3 over the savings term. And I'm not going to get into each number under each category. And from there, I just wanted to give a brief opening on what this whole project is about. And Councilman Paul Przybylski is here and is welcome to any questions on this program. And then our consulting engineer, Brad Minnick, will then, he has questions for ESG, and we'll go from there. So Councilman Przybylski, do you have any questions at this time?
No, not at this time. I would let Mr. Minnick go ahead with his question and presentations, and then I'll see if I develop any more questions at that time.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Minnick, go ahead.
Okay, thank you. I had shared the questions, I think late last week with ESG staff, and I would just run through those with them at this time. Specifically, Dave or somebody on your team, what is the warranty period for the various components of the ESG systems? In particular, the solar panels, but just an overview of the general warranty as well.
Todd, can you field that answer for us? You're on mute, Todd. Thank you.
There we go. Now you can hear me. So the warranty period for the panels themselves is 10 years for the product. And then they have a 25-year performance guarantee or performance warranty. Does that
Does that answer your question?
Okay,
and it,
and then related to that, can you just share with the group an overview of the manufacturer recommendations for cleaning the various components?
certainly. So let's see here. Had that up here a second ago. So GCL is the manufacturer of the product. And there's really not a whole lot to do with the maintenance. Generally, they should be checked at least once or twice a year, just to verify that you're not seeing any cracking in the panel faces themselves, just as a general visual inspection. And then if you are seeing any buildup of dirt, materials, those type of things, and I would say specifically like at the senior center where it is exposed to sand and blowing sand from the beach area out there, but just rinsing them off and just a general wipe down on those panels. If you have a bunch of snow and you will obviously notice a reduced production for those panels during that time period, specifically on the roof installations at police and the senior center. But just wiping them off or waiting for the snow to melt and it'll come down itself. So it really is not.
Todd, when we were talking, didn't you say sometimes that snow can, the snow and the rain can also help to clean it to a certain extent?
Absolutely. So, yeah. So,
but at some point they should be reviewed.
Yes. So, for example, if you are having birds that roost up there, it might be worthwhile going up and rinsing them off physically on those roof surfaces. And then your rack mounted systems that were at the fire and Patriot Park, I think, those are really easy to visually see since they are ground mounted systems and they're on a larger slant than would the roof mounted systems will be. So it's, again, just verifying that, you don't have a bunch of bird residue on them or buildup of dirt and rinsing them off on a periodic basis. The other thing that can be done just from a visual inspection standpoint is just going around and verifying that the connections to the system, the racking systems are in good shape on every system. Every nut was torqued, and there'll be a mark on it. So if you're seeing that those marks have moved due to movement or wind or those type of things, those should be retorqued. Just verifying connections with the electrical connections on those units as well. Periodically going through and looking at that, doing a visual inspection. If something is loose, those are really quick connect type installation. Just making that reconnection or doing some testing on that to verify that you still have continuity.
And Brad, can I ask a question real quick? Yeah. So with the checking of the solar panels, would you recommend that we have a certified or a licensed electrician do that work?
I would recommend that you get with a solar installation company. Then typically they will have licensed electricians, somebody that does this work on a regular basis. Some electricians are better versed at this than others. So I would recommend somebody that does this work on a regular basis. You engage them in that inspection.
And Brad, I mean, we can forward a few names of companies that we've worked with and, up in the region, if that's helpful. The other nice thing about the companies is, Todd talked a little bit about a structural review and then an electrical review and a visual. These guys are, as Todd said, this is what they do for a living. So they know what they're looking for. We've got people that we can work with, that we have worked with in the past, we can pass along. And then that way, you could, if you want to get some competitive pricing on this, you can very easily do that too. So just this is a thought.
Yeah, that would be great if you could share those contractors in that field.
Yep.
So also, I just as a aside, we went through quite a rigorous closeout document process that DLZ reviewed, and then we did both electronic and physical copies of all the closeout documents on all the different buildings, and all that maintenance information is in those documents and recommendations. And I think we shared those with you as well, Brad.
Yep, I have them, and I offer to circulate them. Follow-up question on the contractor routine maintenance. Do you guys keep any history in terms of if they're cleaned every 3 years, we can expect that we're at 85% of optimum performance. If they're not cleaned at all, we're going to see that, tail off a year 5. Do you have any, obviously we have best practices, right? But we have to weigh that against the contractor if he's coming in at 50 grand to say over 5 years he's going to do routine maintenance for $50,000, right?
Sure. That's an interesting question. Christy, I'm going to ask you if we have the information or data to respond to that. I don't know if we do or not, so I'm going to ask you.
We don't really have a database on how things come in over time because it really depends on the location and how much soiling there is there. I know we had one project out west that is out in a sandy environment, and it's like, these are just not doing what they're supposed to be doing. We were really worried something was wrong. They went and cleaned them, boom, back up, just like the very beginning. So it really depends on
was between when they were installed and when we realized there was an issue. Was it like a year? Was it 3 years, 5 years? Any thoughts?
A year or two, and so then I think they have it set up to go, and for that particular one, I think they have it set to go clean them every 6 months, I think. So, but kind of like you were saying, that sometimes the rain can wash off and clean them well. It really depends on the environment and how much soiling there is versus how much rain there is cleaning them. So.
And I would say 6 months does seem like it's, quite a bit, but if it's an area where there's a lot of, sap or something like that, then, maybe you could have the same type, from trees, you could have the same type of results.
Yeah.
I have a question, if I may, Brad. The maintenance issue that's coming up now, was that in the initial presentation of with DLZ and your company when these were installed? Because now this is coming up, and you have to do maintenance with everything, and if we're talking once a year or twice a year, you really don't have a recommendation. That's an additional cost against the any cost savings. So I guess what I'm looking at is re-looking at the cost savings over the years. And also I have another question on projected life of the project, of the life of the panels. Do they deteriorate over time and their efficiency goes down over time? And is that calculated in the spreadsheet?
See, Christy, where should we start? Do you want to start with
Just the lifetime and the maintenance, and then I'll go into the degradation after that.
Sure. Okay. You said the product, they have a 10-year product warranty, but a 25-year performance guarantee. Can you kind of
Performance warranty.
or performance warranty?
Yes.
So, there's kind of the answer is, the product is, they say that the product will provide the rating will provide the energy that it's rated for 25 years.
Well, I'm gonna lead back into a problem we had here with the malfunctioning streetlights. So what if there's a problem with these? Where do we go?
The warranty is helping with manufacturer. So oh, go ahead. I'm sorry. I think I interrupted you. I'm sorry. Did you have a?
Well, my question is that we had a problem in the community with very many of malfunctioning streetlights. Took a heck of a long time to get them repaired, and there was a lot of people. It was an ongoing problem, and I'm looking at if there's problems with the panels. Are we going to have the same problem with getting them fixed by the company that's supposed to be covering the warranty? And I just now we're talking about maintenance maybe twice a year. I'm just looking at how this thing adds up on cost efficiency. That's all. And okay, I think that's a major issue with me. And I have a question here with these street lights. I work at a big complex, and they relighted this complex, and they used a globe light, and it seems like it emits a wider range of illumination. Is there anything else on the market on these street lights besides the ones that were installed? And is that part of the cost savings on going with this style light instead of a globe style LED? I've been going in and out of the plant where I'm at for many years, and there's a significant increase in the pattern of illumination on the ground.
So I guess it depends on which fixtures you're referring to. So we installed all kinds of different street lighting. So we had the Cobra style heads that we installed. We had for the globe lights that the decorative street lighting that we installed different lamps in. So I guess
No, I'm talking about the street lights on poles, not any kind of decorative lenses or anything like that. I'm strictly talking about a street utility type globe. And
so
I just
there's differences in requirements too.
Yeah, if I may, yeah, if I could just add a point here, is that when we went into this contract, I mean, all the street lights that were changed out on the poles came later, with NIPSCO coming to town and putting in these LED lights that went defunct and turned purple. ESG, I don't believe, had anything to do with those lights.
Well,
I think that was all a NIPSCO issue and a supplier to NIPSCO. Go ahead.
It wasn't NIPSCO. So there were street owned street lights that we replaced, or the city owned street lights that we replaced, and we went through a long process, as you referenced, of trying to get those replaced and dealing with that particular manufacturer. We are not dealing with the same manufacturer for solar that we are for those lights. And typically, the lifespan of a solar panel is much longer than a light fixture. So we got two different animals or two different pieces of fruit we're talking about here. But there's also different requirements for parking lot lighting versus street lighting as far as illumination requirements. So yes, you may in your parking lot and your sidewalks have a lot more lighting going into a building than what is required for street lighting. So, and different illumination, they may have gone with a different K value on the fixtures as well, or the lamps installed. So, kind of mixing apples and oranges here with, parking lots versus streets.
I didn't say anything about parking lots, sir. I was talking about street light illumination. Thank you.
Okay. Well, you had mentioned going into a plant, so I assumed it was streetlights or parking lot lighting. So.
Okay, Brad, continue on.
What was that? Okay.
So it's probably in the packet information you circulated to me earlier this week. But the third question was regarding who bears the cost to replace solar panels. And I see you had a presentation. I wasn't sure if you had time to pull it together since I gave you late notice on it. So we can refer to that as well.
I should have sent that to you, and it was trying to go. It tried to go through some of the questions you'd asked about M&V, etc. But the lead in for what the project was awesome. It was more detailed than what I had put together. So I understand that now we're kind of, we're coming, this project's been closed out for 3 years now. And so now I understand when you guys are come back with some questions. One thing I would do want to talk about is, and it talks about who bears the cost of the repair and replacement of the solar panels, is when we sat down with you guys originally and negotiated a contract, there are certain things that you guys wanted us to make ensure we include it. So we include a 1-year standard warranty. Sometimes we offer more. Certainly, when we're asked, we provide more. That was our standard warranty, so that covers essentially everything up for the first year. For the solar panels, for instance, as Todd's saying, they have the 10-year product warranty and the 25-year production warranty. So if you have issues with those panels, you would contact. You would have contacted us for the first year, and then the manufacturer following that for the next 25 years. And so the replacement of those panels would be between you and the manufacturer for the cost of them.
Okay, thank you. And then the last question is more directed towards NIPSCO, and Yvonne and I are working through that with NIPSCO. So as soon as I get an answer, I'll circulate that locally. But Christy, did you have something to add to that?
I might be able to help you out there. So when I saw the questions and I started looking at it to see if I could come up with an answer for you there. And what it looks like to me is that there are some of the streetlights that are listed as streetlights from NIPSCO. And when they're on the street lighting rate, there is a smaller amount, a smaller charge per kWh, but then there's also a lamp charge. Whereas then the ones where there was a lot higher charge per kWh, it looks like those are not listed as streetlights. They're just connected through a kind of typical meter. And so then the energy is being metered through there and it's being charged at the higher rate, whereas the streetlights that are on the street lighting rate look like it's a lot lower rate per kWh, but there's also a lamp charge that goes along with those fixtures, so that pricing looks a lot more skewed than it is, I believe, if you're just looking at that dollars per kWh.
Okay, so there was no effective way to incorporate the lamp charge to bring
Correct.
those two in line. So, but okay, so we'll follow up and let's go and make sure that we're getting a comparable rate when the lamp charge is incorporated into it. So, yep, that's a big piece of the overall system. So that's why that stuck out to us. And thank you to ESG as Don.
Oh, sorry. They kind of transition question into the next there with some of that, with some of the operations, some of the maintenance and replacement. Another question that I heard in there was about the degradation of the solar panels. Yes, solar panels are expected to degrade a little bit year over year. So in year 25, they're not going to be producing quite as much as they were in year 1. So that is accounted for in the guarantee and in the savings that are being reported. I think what we have in there is a 1% degradation that each year, assuming the degradation of the solar panels is 1% over the prior year.
Brad, can I have a question with that comment. So then actually we're saying that these panels are only going to be at 75% at year 25. Right? Is that what I'm assuming is correct? You said they're going to be degrading at 1% a year. So over 25 years at 1% is 25. So that would be, they would be efficient at 75% at the end of 25 years, correct?
Approximately. So since it's compounded on the prior years, so really year two, they're expected to produce 99% of what they produce in year one. Year three would be 99% of the production year two. So that compounding percentages gets off a little bit, but in general, approximately.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
Then, just to revisit what Don opened with, part of the reason we had the workshop was because we've had some, changes on the city council, and we just want to bring the current council up to speed for those that weren't able or didn't participate in this initial installation. So appreciate, ESG's time to refresh the program for us.
Sure, absolutely.
Our pleasure.
Don,
I have one more question for the ESG people. Do you were talking about the different rates, Brad, and we got an explanation for that. Did ESG, did you make a listing of the poles and which lights or lamps were being calculated at a different KW and ones that are on the street lamp rate? Do you have a listing of such? And if you do, can you make it available to us?
Christy?
I'm not sure. I would have to look.
Okay. Well, if you could have, I would appreciate it because, you know, I mean, evidently we could probably get it from NIPSCO. It should be in their records. Thank you.
Well, we'll look to see if we've got access to it too. Sometimes we're a lot easier than NIPSCO.
Thank you.
Not to throw them under the bus or anything, but Brad, any other questions? Or gentlemen?
Yeah.
Ladies and gentlemen?
Wait a minute. Okay, go ahead.
So
Jewel.
this is Jewel Harris. I'm the attorney for the council. I just have a quick question. I've got some notes here in my file. And again, this is just some notes from the prior attorney who represented the council, that there was some discussion at some point regarding M&B reports. Do you know if those have ever been requested by the city and then provided by ESG?
What were those, Jewel?
They're called M&B reports.
Okay. I don't know.
So
Christy?
have provided, there's two things that I would say as far as there. The annual M&B reports that we provide to the city have been provided, but then there's another piece that you could be talking about. I was made aware this week, actually, I think yesterday, there's any of the energy savings projects in the state of Indiana, there is a form that the customers, in this case the city, is supposed to file with the state. And so somebody from the city does need to file that. So I went ahead and I found those forms. We've filled them out ready for someone to submit. So I just need to know who at the city I need to email those over to make sure, as a reminder, that those need submitted to the state.
Okay.
And the rest of that question is, Christy, right? We have been submitting the yearly report to the city to show our savings. And that's similar to the report we sent this year.
So those other reports that you're referring to that you've prepared and are ready to forward to the city, if you could forward those to Amber LePage, Solbrink, the city attorney, and then also to Brad.
Send them to Brad and
the city's corporation counsel, Amber LePage.
Amber and Brad. Okay.
Thank you.
Of course.
Okay. You have a question? Yeah, Amber LePage, the city attorney, has a question.
Hi, I'm not sure if you can hear me or not.
We
but
can.
Okay, good. My question goes to the 25-year performance production warranty. If you could just explain how that plays in when there's a degradation of a 1% each year, at what point would we be looking at utilizing that warranty? Yeah, what triggers it?
I have not read the performance warranty information, but actually I have it up here in front of me, so I can read this verbatim. So the 25 limited remedy GCL-SI warrants that the poly module accept double glass poly module, 97.5% the first year from the limited warranty starting date. Thereafter, for years 2 through 25, a 0.75 maximum decrease in module's normal power output per year, ending with the 80.7% in the 25th year after defined limited warranty starting date. So we're anticipating 1%. They say 0.7% for the first after year 2. In degradation. So if we're seeing, a degradation of 1%, then that's a cause for warrantable action, is the way I read it.
So every year when you provide your reports, will you be reporting on that so that we'll know if we need to implement or execute or utilize this warranty?
Christy, is that something we put on our reports? Is that something we can?
So the M&V for this project, it was they were one-time measurements. So the ongoing solar tracking isn't something that has been included. Because the guarantee was set from one-time performance testing, and savings escalating each year. So degrading with the solar degradation and escalating with the cost increase. So
I guess you guys have a tracking system and a measurement system included with the solar arrays that were installed. All that data is collected. So there is a way of downloading that, which is in the manuals. So you have access to all that data.
And and some of the answers may be, if you guys do contact a maintenance company, one of the ones that we would recommend, they'll have a little bit of understanding. I know some of the things that we're going through are maybe a little bit, technical. We at the end of the day, we provide what you guys, asked us to provide, including training and et cetera. And I think at that point we did talk about the need for some maintenance in the long term. The reporting is that is something that we do on some projects, for the life of the guarantee. In this instance, that was, we did a one-time measurement because that's what you guys wanted us to do. So I'm just trying to kind of explain how those things come to fruition, because I hate the fact that we can't sit there and say, yeah, we can do that. We try to always want to say yes. And in this instance, I was looking for a yes. And then when Christy said, well, we just did it one time, that kind of goes back to that original contract negotiations when we sat down with Amber, with I think it was Todd, was it Jim?
Yeah, it was with Jim. I wasn't involved in it.
Yeah. So, I mean, at that time,
Let me ask you this. If we need help downloading it, would you assist us?
Yeah, we would have to engage somebody to do it. I mean, we don't.
Okay, thank you.
Depending on what the system is, we might be able to help advise, get you started on it, but we'd have to take a look and see the system. So,
Christy, you should have access to those manuals. It was a Solar Edge. So I don't know if you're familiar with that or not.
I'm not sure.
This is one of those things where, again, we're not trying to shirk our responsibility, but for instance, like maintenance, we include maintenance as a service when asked, because we don't have crews that do it. So when we're asked to include it as a service, we put a little bit of our markup on it. And so that's the reason why a lot of times someone will come back and say, you know what, don't include service, because we're just going to go out and hire somebody to do it. Does that make sense?
It does. My question was, yeah, and I believe you answered it, was basically what triggers the performance production warranty, and how do we make a claim for that, and what would trigger that? So you did answer it.
Okay.
But I don't know if that prompts any other questions from any other member here. Thank you.
Just a quick question. Jules' reference to the M&V report, is that the same thing as the performance guaranteed savings report that we have been receiving, or is that a different report altogether?
Yeah, that the M&V report is that energy services guarantee reporting that you received. Yes.
They're one and the same.
Yes.
Okay, I just want to make sure that I was trying to confirm the.
It is confusing.
Okay. Don, you can open it up to more questions.
I know Sean Fitzpatrick is online, and Dahlia is online. If you guys have any questions for ESG at this time? Sean, are you there?
No, I don't have any questions.
Yeah, not at this time.
Okay, all right. Because we're gonna end this pretty quick. I think we've had. Do you have any more questions, Councilman Przybylski?
No.
Okay. No more questions from Councilman Przybylski, and Brad has no more questions. But I just appreciate ESG getting together and reviewing the contract and some of the questions that we had, and for us to, re-educate us, because we don't look at this contract every day. So, I appreciate you guys' time and effort on getting together with us and answering the questions. With that being said, I don't have any other questions for ESG, and but I would like to talk to Yvonne after the meeting, and we'll go from there. So with that being said, this workshop is now called to dismiss, and I want to thank everybody for participating. Thank you.